Hi there, this is John Wilder, historian for Aleppo Shrine. So, been a while since I've done a video, but I decided that since I've been dealing with these types of items a lot recently, I thought I'd take you on a step-by-step process on how I handle them. This is a panoramic photo, was quite popular back in the day, especially for conventions and stuff like that, which obviously the Shrine and other groups of the Masons had plenty of. As you'll see, if you read the Aleppo News and follow our page, it will be posted soon. We recently received a large collection of them that had been held in care by a member of the band, which has been fantastic. This particular one we got recently off eBay. We thought it would be a great addition to the collection. It is the 1951 Imperial Session in New York City, and it is when our own Robert Gardner Wilson Jr. Was installed as Imperial Potentate. He's obviously, I don't think you can see it too clearly, but he is right here with Mrs. Wilson right next to the outgoing Imperial Potentate, Hubert Poteet. So anyway, I always really enjoy these panoramic photos. They're just really great, especially once you digitize them, because then you can zoom in, see exactly who people are, what they're wearing. If there's a badge or something that was made for the event, you can usually pick up on those details. But anyway, let's dig right in. So, with these, I'm always looking at how they're framed. What's common with these that you have to keep an eye on is water damage, and I'll show you that in a second. I believe this one is okay. But here we're just removing the original hanging wire. A lot of these are rusty. This looks like some sort of galvanized wire or something, but we're going to replace that anyway, so straight in the recycling bin for that. Now there's usually a backing paper of some sort. I already tore some of it off, but I'll take my trusty letter opener and get the rest of that off so we can access the pins. Now, what's important to note, especially with a lot of old photos and really anything that's framed beyond, I suppose, oil paintings, which are, it's not my area of expertise, but those are usually framed by themselves. Anything where you have glass and then a backing, we've got to take a look at what the backing is. Here it's cardboard. Sometimes you actually see wood. And over time, those can be really acidic and can damage the actual item. Sometimes with the ones that are backed in wood, you'll actually see a line bleed through where the different panels of wood come together. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on, and something we will address when we reframe this. So with this, these are, framer's tabs. I'm sure there's a technical term for them, but these ones are the sort of diamond-shaped ones that, there you go. So, sometimes there's nails, tacks. So we're just going to go around and pop all these out. These ones come up pretty easily. If you just take your time and make sure you're not cracking the wood or anything. Sometimes with the nails you have to sort of leverage them a bit, and you can crack the frame. But with these, we're just going to pop these out real fast. And what we will do also later on, which maybe I'll show you a separate video, though it's not too interesting. When we put this back in its frame, because this is an item that we do want to display, what we're going to do is just going to take a sort of a dull knife or anything flat edge and just scrape along the wood here and get all this paper residue off. Because when we reframe it, we're going to use a acid-free foam core backing, which will, we'll cut to size. And on a lot of frames, if it was a heavier frame, I'd take out a little brad nailer or, small nail gun, and I just pop brads in all along and, and then press them down to hold the backing in place. Whereas this is the very thin wood, which was pretty common with some of these framing jobs back then. I'm going to end up, when I put that back in, I'm just going to tape with a very tacky, it's actually a sort of a utility tape that I use, but you can use bookbinder's tape. Anything that's you obviously want to look at something that's acid-free, but since it's not touching the actual image, it's usually okay. You can use what works. I don't recommend duct tape. Just something that's pretty tacky. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to dump these in our recycling bin. I always like to check the back just in case there's anything interesting written. Sometimes with these older ones, you actually find they were using scraps of, they'll either have old newspapers or a lot of times I find old movie posters or, the heavier cardstock versions of movie posters, lobby cards or whatever you call them. So that's been pretty interesting. Of course, they're always cut to fit, cut to size. So, I think I have a great one that's got half of Jimmy Stewart's face on it. But anyway, as I mentioned before, you want to keep an eye on water damage. So I'm taking the glass with the image behind it. I'm just taking, and you can see it's already falling away from the glass, but I'm just looking. You would see sort of a blotch where it looks like the picture is pressed right up against the glass. If these get wet, old photos, they become sticky and they will stick to the glass, and there is not much you can do, unfortunately. But this one looks pretty clean. No issues. It's not sticking anywhere, so I'm just going to pop the glass back in the frame. And we have the image free. Just take a cloth and wipe off any dust, because dust does get in the frame. So what I'll do is just use a Windex or a glass cleaner and give the glass a once over. But for now, let's move to the scanner. So I'm just going to pause this a second while we move to the scanner. Okay, I'm trying to show you as little of my messy home office as possible. So over here on the scanner, now we could use the overhead book scanner, but with photos, I like to use the flatbed. Just gives you a little bit better resolution. So with this, obviously this is a standard scanner printer combo. There's a couple different ways you can do it. If it's a narrower one, I will actually, and actually I have one here that I'm working on that's actually a photo negative for another organization. I will start and I will just scan it in sections right across. Because this one is wider, what we're actually going to do is we're going to take the ends, and luckily it is short enough that we should be able to do this in two. I'm going to go down, hold it like that, and just looking over at my monitor, making sure that this looks okay. Yep, okay, make sure that the resolution is okay, and we're going to scan that side. And I'm just noting when I'm looking at the monitor off camera, but I'm just keeping an eye on where about it cut off, and it cut off right about at this guy's shoulder. So we're going to make sure we can get his shoulder in there. If not, we're going to have to take a couple more scans. Yeah, so unfortunately, of course, the first scan cut off here, and then the second scan cut off at this woman here. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to scan this like this, which I don't really want to close it on that just to protect the image, but we're going to do that real gently. So we'll scan this way. And then we'll scan this way. Just to get those center spots. So that should be all the sections. So now we will pause again and we will move to the computer. Okay, so we're at the computer and we are going to, we have our scans. I'm just going to take these and make sure they're all the right side up. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through our viewer here. Make sure that there's no sort of blurry edges, which on the end scans shouldn't be an issue. However, on the center ones, you'll see where it was riding up against the automatic document feeder on the scanner. It's a bit of an issue. So we're just going to take that and we're going to cut a little bit off that. With a longer photo, we would be making sure that we're not, we would really want to pay attention to where we do the cutoff. With this, we know that these two people here were where the cutoff was located. Now, I mean, there are programs that will do this. I've used a couple. Some of them tend to have issues. And you know, I'm a volunteer. I'm working on my own time, so I haven't really made the jump to purchase any software, but a lot of these, it really isn't an issue to do it by hand. Sometimes, like the negatives I've been doing, there's scanning issues anyway, so for an amateur, it comes out okay. But anyway, let's work on these two first. So I'm going to take just simple Microsoft Paint. Going to zoom out a bit and just give us some working space. And I know if anybody actually watches this video, that people say, oh, well, you can do this and you can do that and it's much easier. This is what I figured out, but I will definitely be happy to take advice. Because a lot of things are just sort of figure out as you go. There's a lot of information out there. So I'm just going to select all. Copy, minimize that, back over to our first one. I'm going to zoom back in. There's the Wilsons. Paste. Okay. It's been doing that recently where it doesn't want me to move it, so I'll paste again. Okay, so move this down, and then we just sort of keep an eye on. Okay, so we've got this guy hidden behind here. Then we're going to get it close. And then we can sort of... a little bit of line here. Yeah, I'm going to go back to the left again. Okay, so we've got pretty clean here, pretty clean on the plate. And then the angle's off again. And by the time you get up here, it's a mess. So, well, tell you what, I'm going to cut the video there because it's gotten way too long. And I'm going to keep playing with this and show you the final product. So, thanks for tuning in. And just like that, the final product. Yeah, definitely did that right the first time, and took me no time at all. And yeah, so, and you definitely can't tell that there's a, split here. Um, but we have that digital now. So, um, we can zoom in, we can look at all these interesting people, we can scroll over here and find the Aleppo delegation, which looks like Edgar Turner over here, and I want to say Mackenzie, I forget his first name. And then the potentate with his back to us should be Andrew Seiler. He was a caterer, member of the past captain of the Ancient Honorables. And I know the other faces, I just can't place them at the moment. But yeah, scrolling along. And I was thinking, while doing this, AI is a great tool, but every time I use it for photos, it ends up removing a lot of the um, resolution and just screws up everyone's faces. I mean, just for fun, I've colorized some of these photos with AI just to get an idea, but you lose a lot. Um, I'm sure again there's better options you can pay for. Um, but yeah, this is just it's worth it to take the time. It is a little frustrating, but um, always interesting to pull out the details. Like, this is 1951. All the flags have 48 stars, and it's pre. It's you've still got the Canadian flag under British rule. So is that Dominion? Was that what they called it when Canadian independence, and then the Mexican flag next to it? Uh, but yeah, this is the 1951 Imperial Banquet at, I believe, at the Waldorf Astoria. Does it say? Yes, the Waldorf Astoria, July 11th, 1951. So anyway, that's how we take care of photos, panoramic photos. And as mentioned, we will put the original back into its frame after cleaning and prepping the frame with some acid-free foam core backing. Just something to make sure that you don't have to buy the most professional items. This isn't the rarest piece in the world, but for a home operation like this, we're doing the best we can, and yeah, we're just making sure things are better than we left them, and hopefully are preserved for many years to come. So anyway, keep an eye out. Maybe we'll do some more videos on how we handle these things behind the scenes and how we bring them to you so that we can share the information. Because it's fun to collect, but it is, you know, it's very worthwhile to actually take the extra steps to make sure we can share all this information with you guys. So, anyway, stay safe out there, and we'll see you soon. Bye.